that you're leaving, well, that comes as no surprise. Still, I kinda like this feeling of being left behind. This ain't nothing new to me. Well, it's just like going home. It's kinda like those sunsets that leave you feeling so stoned. Lost my head. I stand transfixed before the street light, watching the snow fall on this cold December night.
Welcome to the best show to hear some tasty tracks, hosted by the world's okayest DJ, John Williams. Now presenting Keep Tunes Alive.
Hey, welcome in everybody. Good to see you all. I am doing something new here today. I am recording this live on Twitch. I did not intend this to be live, but I figured what the hell. I'd figured maybe this will make me a little less nervous on the mic, which it kind of sort of is, but not really. For like I said, we're recording this live on Twitch. That previous song was not an electronic dance music song. I intended this podcast to be music in general, just not electronic music. So I, for everybody who's listening in and saying, what the hell, why aren't you playing electronic music? This is the reason why. It's my love letter to music. That's what I wanted to explain it in the first podcast, but I was too bloody nervous. Didn't know which way was up or down. Kept staring at the bloody camera here like I'm doing right now. And I just, I figured this episode I kind of explain why I'm doing this. And it's just, and I kind of was stuttering on and on like I was there before. And how can I articulate this? I want to share music to the world that everybody will be like, oh, okay. Like I kept saying it over and over and I'm going to say it one more time. I want to share music that people don't normally hear. And I will play some classics. I will play some well-known music, but today especially, it's my, it's another throwback. Like I kind of wanted to do a Canadian podcast or Canadian episode, which I'm doing here today. And this music here, except for the cover, which I'm about to play, it's a throwback for me. And when I grew up in the late 80s / early 90s, music in general was like focused on grunge and like the throes of the glam metal, like of the late 80s. It was kind of like a potpourri. It was a menagerie of audio sounds that nobody had a clue what was going on. Like even me growing up as a kid, I had no idea what was going on. And for everybody that's listening on or watching on Twitch, don't take it personal if I don't reply to you in the chat, because I'm recording this to go onto Mixcloud and hopefully YouTube. So shout out to everybody who's watching in the chat. I'm not ignoring you. Trust me. I just seen that a good follower of mine popped up. But where I was going with this was back in the 90s, nobody had a clue what was going on because there was so much happening. And into the early 2000s, I think there too, like even dance music back then, it was very archaic in construction, but everybody dug it, which is cool. And looking back on it now, but today I wanted to focus more on Canadian, the Canadian side of things that maybe folks in the U.S. and the rest of the world didn't see what we saw back in the 90s. Especially for me, like I some of my best friends are musicians, and one in particular, my buddy Steve, he moved here from Newfoundland. They had an immigration center right here in Vegreville, and he had a band back in Newfoundland, and he had nobody to play with, like nobody to jam out with. And my buddy Doran, my other best friend, he was playing guitar at the time, and he had no band to jam out with either. And Steve was like, well, this kind of sucks because there's no garage bands around here. There's nothing. And he said, pardon me, I'm just kind of spitballing off the top of my head, but he's like, do you play musical instruments? I'm like, no, but I can try. I can try playing drums. And in like 1994/95, I can't remember exactly when I started playing drums, but that pretty much perpetuated my journey into music as it is today. I did love music before that, as I stated in the first episode, but it's really weird to look back and see what you listen to. It kind of sort of in a way, but I cherish the music. I love all the music. Don't get me wrong. I'm a music whore. So I just wanted to do this episode the proper way and play some of my favorites from the 90s, especially here in Canada, because I don't think the rest of the world really included in what was going on here. Whereas in the United States, there's the grunge explosion, like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, you name it, was in front row center. And those bands were popular here too. Don't get me wrong. But for us Canadians living here, there was a whole nother scene, underground scene, very indie scene, as you know, independent rock bands, punk bands, alternative rock bands, that kind of like, was very prevalent and thriving. They're not, I don't know if the underground scene is thriving as much as it today as it was back then, but man alive, there was music publications, like local publications there in Edmonton. They were just left, right, and center. Like you could swing a dead cat and hit an indie band, like playing at a local pub somewhere. Whereas now, the events are more confined, I guess, even more underground in a way. But I've been out of the scene so long, I can't speak for them now. But back then, you know, being a teenager, going from a small town to the big city, that was a huge deal for me, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to, see that night or whatever, that kind of stuff. But anyways, I want to play some music now. The first band started out as a garage band, believe it or not. But they became one of Canada's biggest bands ever, globally. And the band themselves are easy to hate on. And yours truly hated on them for a long time as well. But then when you take that 30,000-foot view back to their origins, it's kind of like, holy shit, they did come a long way. And you can hate on Nickelback all you want, but they did release a lot of music. But if you go back to their beginnings, like in 1995, go check out the album Curb. It doesn't sound like any of their recent stuff. Like it sounds like a Canadian independent rock band. They were just another band on the circuit trying to get well known. And then the song after I'm going to play, they were dubbed the next Nickelback. But I'll explain it when I come back. Here's a little Nickelback for you guys, taking on a well-known song. And it could be, the song itself is timeless. And it pertains to today's events so fucking, oh my God. It's so bang on. When Don Henley wrote it, man alive. Anyways, here it is. Nickelback with Dirty Laundry, right here on Keep Choons Alive.
I little lies. We got our dirty little fingers in everybody's pies. We love to cut you down to size. We love dirty laundry. We can do the innuendo, we can dance and sing. When it's said and done, we haven't told you a thing. We all know that crap is king. Give us dirty laundry. There's a vice hanging around that bell. Try to beat 'em, try to trick 'em again. Wish you want to see it, my friend. Don't let this die now, don't let this sell. I see the sun as it blisters my thumb now. I know the one might still not forgive her. I see the lights filter through your eyes. Treat the night like its existence is right. He's got a secret that he can't sell. His hands are talking, no tongue to tell. Come along with these days when I go back to feet. I found fingers busted. I see the fear of the planet is near. There's only one man that has the power to steer. It's his rise, you know it's your sign. Don't let this die. The fingers crackles online. I see the sun as it blisters my palm now. I know the one might still not forgive him. I see the lights filter through your eyes. Treat the night like its existence is bright. He's got a secret that he can't sell. His hands are talking, no tongue to tell. Come on with these days when I come back to feed. I found fingers busted. Back in shackles, hang me long out in the sun, exonerate me, forget about me. I recommend measures for ending it. Lover, she simply slammed the door. You're gonna miss me. Wait and you'll see fully and completely. of my father. Either it'll move me, or it'll move right through me, fully and completely.
Oh, yeah. Tragically Hip. Fully Completely. The title track from their 1993 release. Welcome back to Keep Choons Alive, or welcome to Keep Choons Alive, I should say. Welcome back, everybody. Listening live on Twitch, watching live on Twitch, and seeing my ugly mug. Welcome in. I forgot to mention the first song that I played. I am such a train wreck. The first song I played today was from a band called Blue Rodeo. They're a folk, rock, alternative, country band based out of Ontario. They're still together to this day. That's one of my favorite tunes that I played. Hasn't hit me yet. I think that's from 1993 as well. The song previous to Fully Completely, I'll get to Tragically Hip in one moment, but the song previous to Tragically Hip I played was Fingers Greco by a band called the Jack Union. Now, they were an indie band based right here in Alberta. They were from a small town called Vulcan. And Nickelback, the song I played prior, they were from Hanna, another small town in southern Alberta. Both towns are in southern Alberta, by the way. It's kind of like a tale of two bands. One band became ultra famous and one of the biggest bands ever for Canada, Nickelback. And the second band, the Jack Union, they were on the rise. They were dubbed as the next Nickelback by a lot of the local people here in Edmonton. And for some odd reason, they just fizzled out. They just couldn't get together, I guess, or whatever. I don't know, egos in the band, whatever. It happens. But they have two releases. One, that Fingers Greco was from Fine Madness, released in 2001. I think they also have an EP called SS. They're like they're kind of like a rock country rock alternative band as well. Very, very based, small town. Like there's a lot of country music that's played here, and not gonna lie, because there's nothing but farms around here. But yeah, they just never took off. I don't know. It was weird because there was another band called Theory of a Dead Man that was based out of Vancouver, I do believe. They were along that same niche, I guess, that little rock alternative niche that happened. And Theory of a Dead Man they are nowhere near as big as Nickelback, but they had to. I don't know what happened to the Jack Union, but I discovered them there on Spotify the other day. They literally popped up, and I was like, "Holy shit!" like a blast from the past. And I had, that was a YouTube rip I played from them there too, because I miss buying their music. It was they had a limited run, CDs back in the day, by the way, compact discs for all you young folk who are listening to this. It's very, very antiquated now looking back on it, but, and then talking about the Tragically Hip, they were the biggest, unfortunately, Gord Downey, their lead singer, had brain cancer, I think back in 2016, and they did a final tour and stuff, and very sad passing. Gone way too young. Gord Downey was he was an enigma on stage. When you seen him live, I remember the first time seeing him live was in 1995 in Calgary at the Saddle Dome, and it was something else. Like I just, that band, when it was fully, it was, they were when they played live and when Gord was on, he rare had an off night, but when he did, he made it up. Like he said, hey, we're going to play for an extra hour just for you guys. Like, very humble, never took anything for granted. I wish more people was like Gord. And my good friend Doug there, he said, I miss Doug there or I miss Gord there in the chat, and I miss him too there, Doug. Man, I miss his music. I miss his outlook on life, because he was a special cat. Let's just leave it at that. Up next, this band, this is one of those obscure pop punk bands that never really took off. I got this song via a promotional CD when I bought another CD at an HMV back in 2001, and never knew these cats. They were based out of Ontario. The band's called Dunk. The song's called Time to Fly. Check it out.
Time is on your side, so let yourself go, let yourself run wild. Express to me the way that you feel inside. There's nothing to lose, nothing to hide. Hey, the time is now. Hey, I'll show you how. Hey, you gotta try. Hey, it's time to fly. Time will follow you, no matter what you say or what you do. Paint your nails yellow, get a tattoo. It's really up to you, it's really up to you. Hey, the time is now. Hey, I'll show you how. Hey, you gotta try. Hey, it's time to fly. It's time to fly. It's time to fly. Hey, the time is now. Hey, I'll show you how. Hey, you gotta try. Hey, it's time to fly. Hey, the time is now. Hey, I'll show you how. Hey, you gotta try. Hey, it's time to fly. 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 One day when I walk be. I stare a little closer, and no one seems to mind that sad, happy look she's given up for a while. Denial, denial. It seems like the faster we go, less we see, less that we know. Talk about denial, denial. It seems like the bigger you lie, the more you try, less we ask why. Denial. Heading down the seawall, going back to my home. I see a friend who's always hurting. We talk for a while. And smiles are always nervous. Chats are that we'll laugh. Spill our guts, hurry up. Time's running fast. Denial, denial. It seems like the faster we go, less we see, less that we know. Talk about denial, denial. It seems like the bigger the lie, the more you try, less we ask why. Denial, denial, denial. Come on.
Sandbox. Curious. From 1995's Bionic. They're based out of New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. A little East Coast rock there for y'all. Welcome back to Keep Choons Alive. I am your host, John Williams, by the way. I forgot to mention my name when I first started. Derp. Anyways, the song before that, hang on here, Denial by a band called Pure. They're based out of Vancouver. 1993, Generation. Oh, heck, I can't remember the name of the band, the album, but that whole album. I'm gonna look it up here right now since I got their page up. But really good. That was their high watermark. Generation Six Pack, 1994. Pardon me. And it was released in August 1994. Denial, Prima Wana. Anna. The original name of that song was Anna. Annie was a speed freak or something like that. But good song if you love alternative rock. Really, really good song there. Like I said, they're the first song of that last set. They're Time to Fly Dunk. They were a pop punk band out of Ontario. They were very, very independent. They never gained any steam. Up next, we got the Northern Pikes. They're still going today. They formed in 1984. They got a major label deal after 8 years of relentless touring throughout Canada. This album, this song I'm going to play from, it's from the album Neptune. One of my old friends who recently passed away, he gave me this album in 1992, and he said, yeah, you can borrow it. It's a really, really cool band. It's something different. And it opened up it opened up another world for me as far as like independent rock back in the 80s, because the Northern Pikes were a well-known band back in the early stages there. I think they released an album called Snow in June, I do believe. Hang on here, I gotta pull it up here, but their compilation there, Hits and Assorted Secrets, in 1984 and 1993. I really love that compilation because you get a taste of everything, like the early stuff from the 80s. It's almost like Tom Cochrane, Red Rider kind of stuff. And then they kind of found their own song. They're still touring to this day. My wife and I were supposed to go see them back in like the 2010s, but we kind of punked out and didn't bother going seeing them because life happens. That's all I'm going to say. Life happened. But I'm going to play a song from Neptune, their only major label release off of Virgin Records. It's a song called Worlds Away. The whole album's brilliant, by the way. Neptune. Go check it out. But this is my favorite tune off that album. Check it out.
There's nothing we can do or say to change the way that all things are, except to wander from afar and contemplate the things we see. We're worlds away now, you and me. We're worlds away now. Worlds away now. You and I, our faces met in places we will soon forget. Montana. We can talk about the moon. We can talk about each other. We can fly away to Neptune. We'll never have to leave. We'll never have to leave. We'll never have to leave. Tongue is waiting for the talk. The secret is the thing will be. We're worlds away now. Worlds away now. Worlds away now. Walk through my door, open loving arms and open loving legs, homeless and Winnipeg. Completely caught me off guard. I'm safely loved, like two splints on a broken leg. Would you hate to see me beg? And once upon a time, I begged my cherie. I never questioned life. I never twisted knives. Would survive. And I ask myself why. I can't believe it's true. After 3 million fights, I'm still in love with you. I can't believe it's dwindled away to a forced hello. Yeah, I'll see you Sunday. Let me be your tornado. Like I did that summer day, I swept you off your feet. Dust never tasted so sweet. Completely caught you off guard. You're walking west and feeling east. I'm lonely at your feet, so lonely at your feet. And once upon a time, I begged my cherie. I never questioned life. I never twisted knives, and I always would survive. Oh! And I'll ask myself why. No, I can't believe it's true. After 3 million fights, I'm still in love with you. I
I decided to play another one there from that album. That's their lead track. It's a song called Believe. It's Northern Pikes. Welcome back to Keep Choons Alive. I am your host, DJ John Williams. Or John Williams, I should say. I am DJing right now, though. Welcome in, everybody. Those of you still alive here on Twitch, thank you so much for hanging with me here today. I might make this a weekly thing. I don't know. We'll see. I'm taking it slow here right now because life is a little crazy with me here right now. I'm just sitting here thinking like maybe I should make this a weekly podcast, but I know too much of a good thing is never a good thing. If that makes sense. Too much of one thing is never a good thing. I don't know how that saying goes. Never mind. Coming up next, you want to talk about small town bands. This band is from Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, the lead singer, Trent Kearns, he is a gun for hire. He's played in a bazillion bands. He quite notably, he's in Slash's Conspirators band. He's the bass player. Like I said, he's a gun for hire. He lives in Las Vegas, Nevada here now. He's got a side project called Toque. That's Toque. Toque in Canada is like a beanie. It's got a pom-pom on top, but a tuss, I think it's like a French word for wool hat. But his band, it's called Toque. Believe it or not. Very Canadian, I know. But he started out with his band, Age of Electric, in the early 90s, I'm going to say. He fronted it till 1998. They got back together a little while ago. They did an EP, and it was pretty good. There was a lot of turmoil in that band with Age of Electric. I saw them live once at a festival in 1998. I have to partially... They had a punk rock attitude. They were like Canadian alternative band, as I've been, the theme for today is. And they just got on stage. They didn't give a fuck. They just chunked out a set and then they just laughed. Adios. No salutations to the band, nothing. At that time, they were getting to the point of dysfunctional, so to speak. But that band kind of spawned two separate projects. Currency, he had a side project there, and then he joined Slash's band there. I think it was like 2010. I think that's when Slash started the Conspirators. I can't remember, but I'm going down a rabbit hole here. I know. What was I going to say? I'm going to play a song from Age of Electric. It's from their self-titled album. I think it was released in 1995. But anyways, here's a little Age of Electric for you guys.
All that weather in a
Oh yeah, Friend of Mine by Treble Charger. Keep Tunes Alive. That front man for that band, that last band there, Treble Charger, Greg Norrie, he was the manager for Sum 41, and Sum 41 just recently retired. Apparently they had a falling out with Greg, and it was not pretty. They actually took it to online. I think it was last year. Derek Whibley, the frontman for Sum 41, literally roasted him on Instagram, saying, "Hey, you're an evil person. You took advantage of kids, basically." And Sum 41, when they first broke out, I think it was 2000 or 99, 2000 in that area. He took advantage of them, and not sexually. Don't want to slam him that way. No. But monetarily wise, he mismanaged their funds. Allegedly. But it was all on Derek Whibley's Instagram. It was not good. I had to play that song because it was a favorite of mine back in the day. But Treble Charger's no longer together. But yeah, just a throwback, I guess. And like I said there before, the first song there, Age of Electric. Trent Kern's like, he just a solid musician and sounds like a solid human being. From what I've seen and heard, I still follow him on social media there. He's still with the Conspirators as far as I know. He toured this summer with Took, and I don't know if they're going to be touring anytime soon or releasing any songs. I know that they released an original there. I forget the name of it offhand, but yeah. Coming up next, there was a punk band named the Real Mackenzies, and they're still going. Paul Mackenzie's still alive, thank God, because he's a legend in the punk community. And he spawned certain bands back in the early 2000s, like this one I'm going to play. And take a listen to this. The band's called Mudmen. They're based out of Ontario. I'm not sure where, but yeah, it's just something a little different for your balls.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink it all up. Oh, my ale is dear. Yeah, I'm gonna go get messed up. Oh, my ale is dear. Yeah, I'm gonna drink it up, drink it up. Oh, my ale is dear. Yeah, I'm gonna drink it up till we drop. Oh, my ale is dear.
Oh Lord, I lost you, I held you tight, oh I will hold on to your love in the night, and the black sky will come for our eyes, oh why let's lie down in the basement tonight. No, Lord, I found you, I held you tight, oh why and the buildings I pulled into the sky, and our hearts shaking in the summer night, oh why let's lie down in the basement tonight. I let you go, I let you go, I let you know that I hold you. Black sky comes to take you from me. I let you know that I hold you. Let you go, I let you go, I let you know that I hold you. Black sky comes, black sky comes, the black sky comes and I hold you. Oh Lord, I found you, I held you tight, oh why and the black skies above our house tonight, and our hearts breaking in the empty night, oh why let's lie down in the basement tonight. I let you go, I let you go, I let you know that I hold you. Black sky comes to take you from me. I let you know that I hold you. Let you go, I let you go, I let you know that I hold you. Black sky comes to take you from me. I let you know that I hold you. Oh Lord, I lost you, I held you tight, oh why and the black sky will come for us tonight, and our hearts shaking in the empty night, oh why let's lie down in the basement tonight. Oh, I let you go, I let you go, I let you know that I hold you. Black sky comes to take you from me. I let you know that I hold you. Let you die, let you die, let you die, I hold you. Black sky comes, black sky comes, black sky comes and I hold you.
Tornado 87, the Rural Alberta Advantage, right here on Keep Choons Alive. That's a band. I think that was, it's a band not based in Alberta, by the way, even though they got Alberta in their name. The Rural Alberta Advantage is a band based out of Toronto, indie band. A very good song. That song kind of pays homage to the tornado in Edmonton in 1987. One of the worst natural disasters in Canadian history. I was 9 years old at the time and had zero comprehension of what was going on, but it was a very big deal. F4 tornado hit the outskirts of Edmonton and kind of went inwards into the city on July the 31st. Generally in Canada here, tornadoes they're not uncommon, but huge destructive ones are rare. And luckily my farm hasn't been hit yet, knock on wood. Nothing's happened. But we've had funnel clouds go by our place here, and it's very, very scary. Mother Nature is a cruel bitch at times. She can be. especially during the winter. Old Jack Frost and her, doing, the horizontal lambada. It can get real nasty up here during the wintertime. I digress. On less lighter notes, I looked up Greg Norrie, the former manager of Sum 41. Apparently, there was sexual abuse allegations, and Derek Whibley he published it in his memoir Walking Disaster in 2024, and this is, I quote from Wikipedia. Sum 41 vocalist Derek Whibley accused Norrie of grooming and sexual abuse in his memoir Walking Disaster. Norrie allegedly grabbed and kissed him. And when Whibley said he rejected these advances, Norrie got all psychologically and verbally abusive. And Norrie naturally denied all allegations, got a lawyer, and yeah, he just kind of went underneath the rug, so to speak. So creepy shit. So I apologize for playing treble charger. It was, I did not know that there was sexual abuse allegations. Creepy shit. And I mashed his name there before. I said Trent Kearns is Todd Kearns. I am so terrible with names. My apologies, everybody. Todd Dammit Kearns. And he's 57. The Age of Electric was based out of Estevan. Estevan is like a border town bordering on North Dakota, I do believe. And then they moved from Regina and then Regina to Vancouver in the early 90s. And that's where a lot of the big bands went. Like they either went west or east, either to Vancouver or Toronto, Montreal, kind of, sort of. There was a few rock alternative bands that were headlining out of Montreal there as well. Up next, just going to play a little bit of Pluto for you guys. Check it out.
Make me
disaster, maybe it'll phase me out. Hey, Carolina, target practices from Mexico. I've become spectacular, which is strange, 'cause I fell down. Hey, Carmelina, target practices from Mexico. I've become spectacular, which is strange, 'cause I feel dumb. Strange, 'cause I feel dumb, which is strange.
From 2001's Audio Being, that is the Matthew Good Band. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Keep Choons Alive. I am your host, once again, John Williams. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here today. The band played prior to that, 5440. They're another band based on, Matthew Good Band, before he went solo. 5440 and Pluto, they're all Vancouver bands. Pluto was like a one-hit wonder. That song that I just played, it's called Paste. That was their one hit. 5440, they're still going today. They originated back in the early 80s. Like, they're one of those like Red Rider, Northern Pikes type of bands, very rock alternative. An excellent band to see live. I've seen them once live. I kind of tied it in with Matthew Good Band because Dave Gann, who was the lead guitarist in Matthew Good Band, when Matthew Good Band broke up his band, a lot of bands, I know, it's very, very hard to track. Dave Gann, Dave Gann, he went from Matthew Good to 5440, and he's still with them to this day, I do believe so. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe so. I'm going to wrap it up here with one of my favorite songs of all time, from one of my favorite bands of all time. I've had the luxury of seeing this band twice. They've had two lead singers. The original singer, Edwin, he kind of went solo, I think, in the early 2000s. And then most recently, I think it was about 4 years ago, like around COVID time. Or before COVID, pardon me, he got back together with this band, I Mother Earth. Excellent band live. The singer that replaced him, Brian Byrne, excellent musician out of Newfoundland as well. Brian is the goods, man. Like, you want to see a guy sing like his nards off. Brian he delivers the goods, and he always did there live. He was with them for, I think, 2 full-length albums and then a bunch of like singles releases. Still, I think it was last summer actually, he went on stage in Newfoundland with the band and shared vocals with Edwin and the rest of the band. They really don't have a high water mark because I love the band so much. Their first release is called Dig. I think it was 1993, I do believe. Their first single off of Dig was Rain Will Fall. This song is the next song on the record. It's one of my favorites all time. I actually have So Gently We Go in script on my back because I love the song. It's a dope smoking tune. You know, it's just one of those feel good hippie songs. Yeah, you know, and I don't smoke dope anymore, believe it or not. I can't because of my job. For those of you who don't know, a little bit of insight into what I do for a living. I am a professional driver, quote unquote, truck driver. And I've been driving truck. I've been operating equipment since I was 12 years old, believe it or not. I grew up on a farm, still live in the house I grew up to this day. I had the option of taking over the farm from my parents. And my dad, he said, literally, you just hand you the equipment and the land, away you go. And all the contracts for all the rentals. And I'm like, nope. My personal health, I have a acute allergy to like grain dust and pollen, like hay fever. It's the worst. I know I could have taken medication. I could have said, sure, you know, but looking back on it in retrospect, my dad and mom, they had some hard times. And nowadays, especially today, the amount of expenses and whatnot in farming is just astronomical. Anyways, I kind of went down a rabbit hole here. Didn't mean to, but not sure where I was going with it. But anyways, going back to the last song, check out Dig from I Mother Earth. Scenery and Fish is the next album after that. Excellent album as well. Blue, Green, Orange, that's the first album with Brian Byrne. Excellent album as well. And then the Quicksilver Meat Dream. It wasn't well received. Kind of a weird name. But some really great music on there too. I will play a couple of tunes from them on another Canadian episode somewhere down the road off that album because it's a barn burner. I don't think you can purchase it online anywhere. I think they had a squabble with Universal on that album. Universal Music. Don't ask me why, but anywho, this is the last song for My Mother Earth, or the last song of this episode for My Mother Earth. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here today. This is a lot better doing it live on Twitch. For those of you who hung out with me here today, thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Shout out to my moderators, DJ Durr and Jewel, a husband and wife team. Thank you so much, fam. You're my bar none my biggest supporters, and I appreciate you both so much. Shout out to everybody else that hung out live. This will be up on my Mixcloud sometime tonight. Or tomorrow. I'll schedule it for tomorrow morning release if you want to listen to it again. I will make a set list of all the songs that I played here today. And I'm going to try to upload it to my YouTube. I don't know if it'll get flagged for all the major label music that I played, but I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. It's worth a shot anyways. So as I say on most of my live streams, take care, be kind to one another, and just don't be a dick. Just be kind, because you never know who or what's going through what. You know, just... You could run into people that are having the shittiest days of their lives. If you just, share a smile and be kind, it could change their day. Anyways, I digress. Thank you so much for hanging out with me once again. And I might make this a weekly thing. I don't know. We'll see. My life it's kind of busy, but I'll make time for sharing tunes with you guys because this is a labor of love. Take care, everybody. See you soon.